Hi, this is Lee. I'm at 10506 Aurora Avenue North, Seattle, Washington, 98133. I'm States. I've been terrorized because I wouldn't vote, and I've been threatened on a daily basis. I'm going to talk about the threats and what people are doing, but I'm eating dinner. But I'm also going to talk about I'm trying to eat dinner and take notes. So see some foil here. That's I had one. That's a and a half for dinner. I've eaten some of it. People that are actually at the station that are in the storage room, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And they're in there illegally in a storage room. Some of the voices. This is the kitchen. Oh, and by the way, if you notice my hands, the people were running a meth lab, probably, and they put the toxic water in my shower. Now, you may say, well, why don't you move? I'll tell you about that in a bit, too. So the room pretty much ends at the at the refrigerator, because here's the architecture of the place. And here's the window. So, it's thin. You couldn't walk. But if you hear some bums, it's a prostitute. I think it's the prostitute named Stephanie. She's a very smelly woman. And she has her arm dangling uselessly or soon because she's irritated so much on that arm. And she's an ugly female, skinny, and she's got a head too big for her body, sort of like doll size, out of proportion head. There's a fat man she's white, sort of dark, not a dark sallow, but a sallow complexion. And the fat man is very pale. He looks like a maggot. His belly stick way out. And he is this is the kitchen wall, and access to pipes, and the manager gave these bums the keys, and here's where the storage room is too. Now this wall's too thin here. See, it wraps around. There's I'm going to talk about paranormal stuff, like I said. So there's an energy field I just walked through that they're trying to attack me with. The bums of the U.S., they're all human zombies, so they wouldn't be walking here per se, but here. And then here, they usually masturbate and make moaning noises and put semen in the water. And if you heard somebody just now, there's two people in the storage room on this side, and so there's at least 4 people. And, I don't have much in this apartment. They put glass in the apartment, including in my blankets. You will see spirits flitting by, but make note of the door. I don't actually hang out with anybody here. They claim to have, taped me, which is illegal, and the managers here are utter psychopaths. Most people are in the Washington area, at least. They're psychopath zombies who took with Satan. And I noticed this 13 years ago. They're all absolutely, I woke up, everybody was sheer, and the place was sheer evil. How did this happen? And, well, I'm talking casually, not been enjoyable. By the way, the bums feel powerful. The general area of attack they usually do, and it's uterine or vaginal area. Like that. But I have to laugh because I put curses on the males that psychically attack absolutely become more feminine, and the females that attack me there to become more masculine, especially if they don't want to. And, so anyway, so you've got a bunch of bums that hang out in the storeroom, and it was about 2 weeks ago that they bragged that my hands would be bleached, and indeed they are bleached. This place is called DSC. I'm here. I have fibromyalgia. There was another energy field, gray, and they're vertical. Energy field's vertical, so I'm charting this as well. Hand theft, and a lot of this fall with Satan, and I hate to say this, but it's been a game of intent. Like a lot of these people have stolen identities, especially, you know, because I was the only one apparently pulled. Everybody else was a human zombie. And people were dead for 12 minutes, basically. And so they viewed my intent. Apparently, people intended, or beings intended me to be someone big in the spirit world. But my chakras are continuously taken and used by bums, including child molesters who have portrayed themselves as angels in the spirit world. They've also snapped them. And on a physical level, they've also told me they're going to cut me up. They ruined the way I can hear a human zombie communicate. And he's going down 10507 Aurora Avenue, North Seattle, Washington, 9133 at this moment. And they're playing Butchering and Leaving. So what's one of your best recourse methods against zombies? Even if you're, you know, one of them, you put a mirror on the United States, especially Washington State. And whatever they've done, it comes right back at them. Now, let's see, there's a zombie in the plane, and he's communicating with the bums here. Now, let me tell you about the bums here. They're all prostitutes, they're mentally deranged prostitutes, drug addicts, and they're mentally deranged, and they have records, most of them, of being mentally insane. Some of them haven't been diagnosed criminally insane. You know, I don't have their records in front of me, but just let's put it this way. They're all zombies. They're all the people in the social services, actually, that were the drug addicts and drug. Satan with him, and he promoted them, and they gave up their soul for them. And if you watch the zombie movies where people are just, they're totally, well, they are. And even people in jobs need intelligence. I hate to say this because you'll say, oh, she's bragging. Well, I woke up, and from what I hear, most people are around 80 intelligence IQ, 80 IQ, and intelligent quotient points. And I've even people who are involved in physics stealing brains. And anything created in the United States, starting from 13 years ago or more, well, let's just say they're safe, they might have stolen from even you, whoever's listening in another country, because their whole stolen intent. One of them is psychotically threatening me in sort of a low voice from the bathroom area. It's supposed to be an empty storage room nearby, and there's nobody in the storage room that wrapped around the apartment. You've heard some of the psychos, like to my left, but the person doing the most talking, he's out in the storage room, and they're very upset because I'm broadcasting, and they've been terrorizing me, and I've been threatened with kidnapping, rape, prostitution, dismemberment. You don't even know. And there's some plain morons, plain zombie. Let's start calling them all zombies. They are. And he just took head, and he's communicating with neighbors. I usually call them bums if it's a male, or if it's a female. They are. They're Satan's whores. And even cute old ladies that are like the zombies, and they are, you know, involved, like maybe they'll talk with the to the drug addicts and drugs and gang members. Just classify them as what they are. They're all human zombies, and they're all gang members and drunks and druggies. I don't even care if it's a 10-year-old child that's talking to a blood that's a pimp and they're plotting a crime. Well, that kid's a gang member. Call him what he is. He's also a zombie kid. The U.S. was totally screwed up anyway, probably 30 years ago or more. Here. But I would say 13 years ago, but be safe, call it 20. Why? Because I don't want to curse like, let's say 13 and it's actually 14 years by the time I say 13. Well, I want people to still be damned for what they did. They just belly. Part of the goal of these bumps in the wall, they thought they'd be breaking in. They thought they'd push me into letting them in. They thought they'd be spending my little check, and they thought they'd be committing crimes and having. They thought they'd be raping me. They just took belly and hand. They also had a takeover plot, like if I ever got any rewards or anything good in my life, where there are a couple prostitutes that vaguely have the same hair color, and you know, oh, they'd pretend that that was me. Now, there's a deeper, more sinister aspect to this. I was actually scared. They pretended I was Satan, and they cut me off from warning anyone. And these people at 10507 Aurora Avenue, North Seattle, Washington, 98133. It's the brown and yellow building on the left, by the way, on Aurora. They absolutely have a takeover plan. Even if you are a blood and you're listening, just know that these people are, they have a takeover plot, and, you know, it involves about 300 people. They will dispose of the rest of us, or have us as, or try to have us as slaves. We're bragging every country, they just did uterine attack, every country as I came in. Excuse me. You can't imagine how much money it's cost me to pay a lot of things because these people have defiled it. And the person, if you hear anything in the background, in the and a hole that wraps around my apartment, attempting to terrorize me. They've also like plotted to shoot me through the wall or come through with a hat. There seems to be some sort of, like, they possibly behind the kitchen sink, there was possibly a way that they've been going down to 229 and sliding down. It's called mining, and what they do is they end up, maybe a basement, and then start digging in a wall. There's some room to sneak around. A lot of the times when people are terrorized, it's not ghosts from like, a couple centuries or even a century ago. It's people call doing something mining. And we have a couple instances in the U.S. that have made it to the news late, living in like Walmart, in maybe an attic or something, and they had a TV set up and they were making meth or doing something crazy. Well, I'm dumping the poisonous chemicals, so I would in my water, so I'd be bathing them. I've also bragged about radiation, and what it's boiled down to is that the U.S. people are mostly morons and cannot be trusted, and they've done a lot of chakra theft, by the way. And so people really should have been watched better, like buying pool chemicals that are acids, or other toxins. Like, why is that per porch? Or, you know, somebody horribly, there's somebody across town that was buying pool acid and they don't have a pool. So the US people are morons and they should have been watched. They're dangerous morons. And your average dangerous moron, well, they're even worse because these bums took control. 759. Now, I'm talking mostly about what happened to me and what I've I might graduate to other topics as they come along, such as ghosts, and I don't know where this is going to go, you know, especially with all the threats. But now, if someone threatens me, well, they never know if Google's on. You just never know. Could be right on YouTube on the bus all of a sudden. Excuse me, I talked with my mouth full. And what looks like a homemade banana muffin. And drinking some tea. Good. As time goes on, as I'm, I got stuck in this apartment, by the way, because they tried to prostitute me. And a prostitute, her name is Candy. She has long, brownish, sort of reddish hair. She's not attractive. So, by the way, this will give you an indication. She can't finger. And she will sound normal for a second, then she launches into this cartoon voice. Well, she threatened to kidnap me. She said, if you don't get into an automobile, you're going to get a beating. So I pulled stun gun and pepper spray, and I'm the one who had to go before a prosecutor. Now, you hear someone, there's a moron voice that sounds just like a cartoon. That's what he sort of sounds like. He's one of the bums here that will play, well, you're going to let us in, you're going to obey, blah, blah, blah. The first couple days I was here, or a couple, maybe, I don't know how long, actually, I absolutely knew not to move my storage stuff in. And it might not be valuable. I've given away a lot, but I knew not to even set up a house. And there's even less, and I'll tell you why. They've also sprinkled glass in my apartment, and there are people here, including a fat man who prides himself. He's a fat guy. He wears a black hoodie on Aurora, and he has a kind of this mustache like a caterpillar. He's ugly, very white, very fat. I'm not criticizing white people, but he looks like a grub, and he's about 5'9", and his belly sticks out, and he tries to look like he's I don't know, I think he thinks he's a big tough guy or something. He's probably scared people. He's apparently a special ed person. By the way, there's a zombie in the airplane and uterine. And it flew overhead. But by the way, he can take down master locks with a hasp. Not really a talent. He's bragged that he has house-breaking tools. And I want to warn you, all these people here are child molesters. And I'm going to give you the address in case they try to, you just don't know who they're contacting in your country. It's at 10507 Aurora Avenue North, Seattle, Washington, 98133. And one of the prostitutes, she's talking in a low, kind of menacing voice. And she's guaranteed she's a special ed prostitute on drugs. There's another prostitute, and her name is Maria, and she actually house sits, and she has long dark hair, and she likes to wear she's scantily clad a lot of the time with short skirts. She's not pretty. She's just a big nose person, pale skin, dark eyes. That's all I noticed. And the skirts are usually, I don't know which is longer, the nose or the skirts. You tell me. And then there's someone in a car picking up on and he has TMI and ESP. And that prostitute, by the way, she's about 5'6" or so. She's not fat. She's lost weight. She's medium. She's, too old to dress as the prostitute she is. She kind of looks funny. And she's repulsive. Let's put it that way. And she has threatened me as well. She's actually sat in the walls. And by the way, she likes to house sit. She gets jobs off of Craigslist. And she likes to sleep with all the rapists in the building and also hang out with them. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of these bums have been anti-Europe, anti-Russia, anti-England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. And I'll tell you why. A bunch of bums got together, including one that I wouldn't sleep with, and they got together with Satan. And they figured it was pretty fun. And, they're playing time reversals, by the way, because there's something happening. Like, I'll look at the clock. It'll be 8:06, and there's a bum. You could hear him. He's playing with playing with stuff he shouldn't be playing with. He just said time reversal. That was someone behind the shower area. He's not a ghost. It's a human being. They're just bums playing with our faith. So, the guy, one of the people who took the fall with Satan, was absolutely hideously jealous of Europeans. And so they've targeted Europeans, including in the spirit world. And the people who took the worst punishment in the spirit world, because they punished everyone, all these bums. Even you could see a person with a shopping cart in America, and he's maybe, any race, and he's punishing people that are English. Why? It's these zombies with this sort of this mentality that's been fed to them. And, by the way, one of the person who masturbates into the water in the storage room, in the shower area, and sink, he's saying, I'm going to talk to the police. And one of the favorite games of these zombies, it's to pretend that they're with the police, or that they are police or other officials or professionals. Uterine ovary theft. And you can hear some of them. You can enhance this, like if you have sound equipment to enhance what I'm saying, and play it on a stereo, or use your graphic equalizer or something to clean up the audio. You'll hear these people actually arguing back with me. And it's not ghosts, it's humans. Now, it's getting to the point where, I was at first I would stay here on the weekends because I'm tired. I have fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and chemical sensitivities, but it doesn't make sense anymore. There's nothing in here. Couldn't bring anything here, but also why, I've gotten to the point now, I'm just going to give up on cooking the same kind of stuff, like, I would make a typical, let's make some cabbage salad, and even a little preparation. It's too much in a filthy kitchen. I might run the water all day long, and then the bums will say, we just peed in your water. Or, they'll brag about the radiation. There's somebody playing too much information. Now, it's an American zombie. And I hope you get noticed, shall we say, by anyone you made into a zombie who might be mad at you. You need to damn all the Americans who took the fall with Satan. And even if you are an American, By the way, they're doing uterine attacks. And some of the things they like to do to my chakras, like they're trying to consecrate and they'll eat me. And allegedly my soul was golden and I had very powerful chakras. So they've used these chakras. Somebody, it seems also, I think, wanted me to reprieve everyone, but I was busy being poisoned by a gang 13 years ago, and they did the needle thing and injected me and entered my apartment and raped me. And I was also poisoned in my apartment. I would use shampoos and I would get the shakes. It looked almost like an orgasm. And sorry, for being graphic. And I drank like some soy milk one day and it tasted like turpentine. And I was constantly ill. And so I got to the point where I wouldn't eat too because I was so sad over what had happened. I knew there had been a fall. And I knew that there were people in the spirit world suffering, and they were screaming and crying, and I knew what was going on. It was horrific torture, and I was being threatened as well, including, to be cut up or whatever. And there was a hand fetish even then. And this all started about the same time when I was up north, complaining about a meth lab of some people. I'm going to say that the people I complained about, they had an Hispanic name, but it's also Italian. Starts with a C, ends with O, and there's an N. There's one vowel missing. It doesn't seem to be a very rare name, and it actually means singer in Italian or Latin. And there's been back theft. And there was a male to the left going blah, 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 blah. And you have to realize these bums, I just saw a spirit too, are playing seizure, they're pretending they're government. I've actually been followed around by people. Let me tell you what's happened to me. This is common. There was a spirit, by the way, that just played I Gave Them England. Been followed around by junkies and bums, prostitutes, morons, pretending they're police and that they can kidnap you. And if you walked off with someone like that, that's pretending to be a policeman, you're going to end up dead or prostituted or, stuck with needles and enslaved. And I absolutely have turned them in. And then, of course, they've put more toxins in my water. So it's been very unpleasant for me the last few years. And like I said, in regard to this place, I think I'll just have to spend more time out and just live on, yogurt on the weekends, not think of cooking a bunch of stuff and sitting here, I can't go anywhere because things are open and people will get it. And, it's all spread out and I've cleaned so I could stay here. Well, I have to clean during the week anyway. Why? Because there's glass all over. And, if I'm going to drop something on the floor, then I get more glass cuts. My face is already cut up. I'm scarred, and it looks like acne scarring. But that's the way glass goes. Sometimes it can, by the way, there was a uterine attack. And glass scarring can be bloodless and very confusing because it doesn't look like you're scratched up. And I mean, it doesn't look like you're bloody. but it's a scratch, or it can also penetrate your pores and make you look like you're pory. It actually makes like a pore. It's like it carves you. And so if you want to look up like what glass workers might, you know, people who powder glass, it's a common gang technique. They'll also sprinkle your clothes with it. There's a human zombie in the car. And usually, if I say, actually I just say usually car bum. That's a male. And that just means he's talking when I say car bum. Lots of talking. Sure, I also hear spirits, which I don't know if you can hear. But there are allegedly 4 people in the storage room. It sounds like 4 people, and they're absolutely not supposed to be in there, and the management's in on it, and they're in on giving me out, giving keys out. Giving keys out, and then they tape the place and they pretended that I'm a prostitute. The app, I downloaded an app that looks for spy equipment. It indicated that there was spy equipment. Indicated there was a camera. I'm not saying that the app is 100% accurate, and it is a free app. But they bragged about it, and they pretended I was a prostitute. I look sometimes like 18, and especially before the scratches. So they were telling child molesters, or like I look actually younger than that. They were actually telling the other child molesters to pick me up. You might say, well, how else did you come here? Didn't you know it was a bad neighborhood? I knew. For being quiet that day. And they just looked like they were too medicated or too sick to do anything. But don't ever be fooled by this. Because if a human zombie looks like they are too sick to toddle around, and they are toddling around on liquor or whatever, they're still dangerous. You get 3 of them together and they'll rob you. They'll carry off children. You don't know what they'll do. They threatened England and Ireland today. The bums often will make threats that are in code. They have their own code. And there's one that somebody's mentioning that I heard earlier, actually, when I was at a day shelter where I volunteer a bit. And they were talking about strained. Strain her. Strained. That's DSC and EGH. It possibly means kill or attack. And so there's a code to know, like they'll say, oh, here's one of their codes. Now these males are ugly, hideous. I won't have anything to do with them. But the rapists will absolutely refer to themselves as husband. And they'll pretend they're in a relationship. They'll say boyfriend or fiance. One of the most common ones is husband. And that absolutely can mean that they're going to break in, inject you with heroin, and get your bank account. And believe me, a lot of these people that threaten rape here, they're AIDS-ridden. You would not even take the chance on them if they were the last person on earth. you would say, get the hell away from me. There's a bum threatening about meth. It sounds like you're going to be making meth. There's been head theft, and he's playing making meth. He said, you'll be making meth. Absolutely not. And anyone who tries to actually enslave me, there's going to be a lot of trouble with that, because there could be a flood. You just never know. There could be worse. You just don't even know. The couch could go out the 11th floor. The bed could go out the 11th floor. Here come the cops. There could be a flood. Maybe the electrical is in the flood. You just don't know. And then here comes 911. And anything they try to force me to do, I'm absolutely going to turn around and tell the police. Pretend they had a legal right to claim me. And some of these retardos have actually played document or deed, and they'll sit in your wall masturbating into your water supply playing, we have an attorney. Excuse me. They're about to play Mexican, and they'll call everything Mexican, and then they'll say, well, you can't have this or that. It's a Mexican. They're playing jewelry a lot. And you might say, well, what if the rival gangs hear them? Goody. If I have to step over someone and at the bus stop, I really don't care. Who cares? Not my problem. I have no loyalty to any gang member. I didn't see it. I'm nearsighted. And these people were so violent anyway, I'm not surprised. All their violent threats, somebody finally got mad at them. Big shock. My prediction is that the U.S. will be overtaken by more gang violence. And it'll become the norm where people just go crazy and, harm people. Because we're already at that point anyway. People just were acting more... Well, let's put it this way. The human zombies were just pretending that they were more civilized than they were. And I like to keep telling the same story of why some planes fall out of the sky. One of the dreadful secrets of the U.S. is that if you have friends, they will hide your mental illness. And they will hide your drug and alcohol addictions. I personally know a security guard, and he allegedly just met with Congress. He's connected with an establishment that's one of the social services. I won't mention it right now, but he is a person who used to either use meth or crack. I don't remember which, he told me. And he used to see what he called treeples, people in the trees. And he's a security guard, and he was on meth and crack. There's also racism. Because, they'll call it reverse racism, but some people are just not as protected as others. And interestingly enough, we're not going to mention those others, but when we'll say others when, black, white, or other, some of the others, actually others that are protected by the government. And the whites were not either. But it wasn't just whites. And anyway, you know, there were many Jews that weren't protected, or even perhaps in the U.S. that have been protected or favored. Very inflammatory, but anyway, it's the truth. And I see it personally. Now, anyway, we're not going to mention, there's a bum chanting about a lot of hand theft, etc. 1 second, and I ripped some of my paper. Whoops. There's been a lot of chakra theft. Another example of psychotic people I personally know, and I don't say I'm friends with these people. And remember, I have no loyalty to gang members, and I don't care what happens to them. I don't care if the rival gang member comes to their home and carries them off. It's not my problem. I didn't see it. I wasn't there. They're gang members. It happens. But there was a bum, and literally she had, I guess, people driving her around, buying her TV set. I think she personally was an old prostitute or a heroin addict, but she's certainly a drunk, and her job is to inspect planes. And she's actually crawled into an area of the plane to sleep off a hangover. She also has a fence, and she has found tons of blood. She's in on the you know, threats such as kidnapping, rape, and playing husband about dirty, filthy, grotesque scum of the earth that no woman would ever want. Now, allegedly, she's in charge of safety. I don't know if she is for sure. She might just be inspecting the plane for like, oh, did someone spill some popcorn? I don't know. But according to her, she is absolutely found, you know, a lot of valuable items and fenced them. And she goes to the day services where I volunteer. Yes, she plays every angle. And now, remember, if she's a drunk or druggie, what they did with these people that are drunks and druggies, and there was racism involved, what happens is they downplay their mental illness and say, oh, they're fine. And these people have ended up with dream jobs like you wouldn't believe. Rags to riches, and it's max of racism. Not just whites that were sort of not protected. I will say a couple or a few of the others were not protected. Like, let's say maybe, and this was highly inflammatory as well, he needed some help. Well, I don't think he'd get his help as much help as some would. So, it's inflammatory, but it's the truth. And a bum sitting in the wall or standing, you know, masturbating in there, or pouring poison and yapping. And he's been absolutely allowed to do this by the bums that are managers at 10507 Aurora Avenue North, Seattle, Washington, 98133. And there's a whore, playing, I'm hiccuping, a whore play. Those are the rules. And there's a zombie bum in a car. Now, what I like to do, and I like to pray a lot and listen to prayer. But eventually I'm going to, get a cheap laptop if I'm stuck here. And I'm going to set up the cheap laptop while I'm here trying to sleep. And it'll broadcast all the bums. And I'll still be able to listen to my music, too. I'll pay for a hotspot. I just wrecked a phone. Too many droppings of that phone. So now there's a bum. They're playing. We're obligated games. Like, we're supposed to do this. We're supposed to do that. And see, what's dangerous about these bums is that you get enough of them, they're dangerous, but you absolutely get this determination to kill or kidnap. And I always say the same thing, that this place will end up on the 4 o'clock news. And it's going to. Because there will be a day where I have to call 911 and say, yeah, somebody's blocking the door, I can't get out, and he's claiming he has a gun, or he's actually pounding on the door. And at that point, I'm not going to just call the manager. That's when you call 911. And somebody did, oops, I just bleached my pan. There was somebody who did try to kick the door in. And he didn't like it because I was playing Christian music. So the aspect of the human zombies, especially here and other places like them, they're all devil worshippers. And you'll hear the same talk over and over, including when they try to cover it up with code. They're devil worshippers. They're also child molesters, and they talk about sacrificing. They boast of sacrificing animals. They have fantasies about children. And don't forget this address. It's 10507 Aurora Avenue North, Seattle, Washington, 98133. It's the brown and yellow building. On the left-hand side as you go north, and Northgate Way sort of bisects Aurora. And you're going to hear I'm hearing the bum in the wall arguing, and then somebody shouting out loud outside because I'm telling the location. Well, I live here. I can tell the location. And do I care if anybody stalks my stalkers? No. Why would I? And someone might say, well, she gave out her address just now. Well, they had people stalking me. I hope those people get stalked. Do I have any concerns for them? No. And there's and they're playing the name William just now, including, I think there's a car bum. It is. And they've played a lot of first names. One of their their favorite games is to play like the name of people I don't like and name everything like William or Kathy. But remember, they've also hurt spirits that were actually named William or Kathy, or people in the United States as the zombieism spread. Because I get a little confused. Maybe some weren't as bad even after the fall with Satan, but these bums, made sure they were as bad. They also spread it to other countries. Face that. Now, they threatened, like I said, to chop through the wall. It's at that point I call 911. I'm not wasting time calling the manager. If you wonder what I'm doing, I'm wiping the bed down for glass. And, if one ever sees me, my face has been scratched. My skin is usually dried up and red on the hands from the chemicals they put in the water. And I'll tell you what makes these people dangerous. Got people that know they're being recorded, or broadcasted, they still won't give up. They won't leave the storage room. They've been told on, and somebody let them do this. Just like when they tried to prostitute me here, they had a dirty cop, they had a dirty judge, and they had dirty managers and a dirty social worker. And so they were all in on human slavery. That's how people disappear in America. It's not just, oh, what you expect, like large crime rings. It can be a large crime ring. It might be 3 retards, maybe with a large crime ring of their gang, maybe just on their own. And then, presto, someone disappears. There's another human zombie on Aurora. So rest assured, pretty much everybody in Washington is damned. They're all zombies. By the way, I was sort of interrupted earlier today. One of the favorite things of these bums is to use monsters against me. Like, sometimes the monsters have been created, but sometimes they're sea monsters, I'm not kidding, that have been taken, that were dead, and or maybe a resurrected, I won't even go into that theme right now, dinosaur. And then that dinosaur was made absolutely insane. Or, you know, and the thing is, I would never have crossed paths with them. But they've chanted, we're going to punish you. Somebody's talking about their gun. And so the U.S. people thought it was funny, including the male that I wouldn't sleep with 13 years ago, to make me as a sort of scapegoat, like a fake devil that did everything bad. And so if you can imagine 132 million people pretending to be you, well, those people no longer have an identity. And with all the brain stealing from the spirit world and also the visibles, including me, they have nothing. They are nothing. I don't care if they're a well-dressed businessman. And if you saw what they looked like inside instead of having a soul, you'd be very afraid. You'd be very afraid. They look like even more grotesque gremlins or something, or demon creatures, and they're constantly, a lot of them chant demon. They'll play demon, and they'll pretend they're Christian, and they'll call themselves God, and then they'll try to turn around and call me the devil. Now they're taking a lot of blood. They're playing ritual. These people at 10507 Aurora Avenue North, Seattle, Washington, 98133. Not only do they like to eat etheric bodies and souls of people they've damned, which they had no right to do, they also like to fantasize about eating me. And some of it, it's based on a sort of satanic, magical belief system. I got to go to the restroom, so I have to close the door. there's no heat past a certain point, and I can't have a blanket because that's the first place they put glass on. Also, they were fooling around on the blankets and getting bodily fluids on the blankets. So, best thing, and by the way, the fat guy, I'm going to show you the locks he's allegedly gone. Threat 507 Aurora Avenue, North Seattle, Washington, 98133. The fat man, I had to come back and these were down. Down. Gone. Master locks. And then a pretty set of master locks, like black, like 3 in a row. And a large, you can't see it. But nice master lock, all gone. And he's got housebreaking tools. Now the game, if she ever gets a reward from the police, we'll take her identity, we'll cook it up with a bad cop, and he'll get a reward. Or, we've got him so convinced she's a prostitute, she'll never get anything. We'll have him tell her backward and forward. Like, let's say they have a film of you in your apartment or house of when you were happy and healthy. And then what they'll do is, like with me, they wanted me to be entertainment, being starved and abused and tortured, and absolutely having people say things like, lift your arms and do this. I don't think so. I'll lift my hand and flip them off, or give them another sign. I'm not going to be taking their orders. Let's put it that way. And you say, well, why didn't you cover up the camera if you know where it is? Well, I can't see it. And if you start digging, or there's another human zombie on Aurora. If you start digging around in the fire, where one of them is, it's the smoke detector, it'll make the whole building ring. I mean, on the weekends, maybe the best I could do is put a Band-Aid over it. But one of the best things you can do if you're in my position, where you're paranoid of a camera, just undress in the bathroom or in the bedroom in the dark. And the human eye, you can see to a certain extent. Whatever you feel comfortable with, you can even have those dollar store night lights. So you can still see enough so you don't fall down, and you can take a shower in pretty much darkness. They just took back, they're playing eating you and non. They're playing non. Now they've taken a lot more shock lately. It's been more constant. And you need to damn these people because they're using them on you. One of the bitches and she is a bitch. She's a retarded prostitute. She just took belly and she's arguing. It's a prostitute arguing regarding my chakra and making a decree. And she's guaranteed special ed. She's a bum. It might be that prostitute named Maria. That's a fairly confident prostitute. There's a couple prostitutes. There's one, she's big, she's got dyed red hair, very pale. She kind of looks like a man, huge belly. And then there's another one, she thinks she's pretty, but I call her barn door ass. She's gained weight after the scratches, but this woman has an out of proportion butt. Oh, they're just torn at my back and attacked me. I'm pretty sick. Kathy's. But this barn door ass, she has red hair, and she's a moron. And from what I've heard, I'm not lying, I've heard that she had 10 abortions. And these women sat in the room with the males, and often they've had sex with them. They're prostitutes. And as they were, attempting to terrorize, they got sexually excited. And one of them, she likes calling, one of their favorites is they were calling me ugly after, I was scratched, and telling people I was a meth head, which I don't. I haven't even whined for about 5-6 years. 8:46. There's a car, and they tell people she's a prostitute. One of the whores is talking about grocery money, and they like to pretend you owe money. And I've even had to call the police. There was an ugly black man. He wore dreads and he had glasses. I haven't seen him for a while. He was about 5'9". Oh, somebody's mad because I'm telling on him. I haven't seen him for a while. He actually had to have 911 called on him. He became infuriated when I told him I wasn't going to pay. And he was trying to extort from me. You hear that? There's someone yelling. That's about as sane as they get. And, don't worry about America. It's gone. And they just clean this crap up. They slap them in a suit. And it might be the person with your medical records. It might be the person who's got your personal banking information even. They clean up the crap. They give the crap more chances than the good guy. Crimes in the spirit world. Now that I've opened these napkins, I don't even want napkins touched by gross, stinking, rotten figures, so I'm going to take the napkins with me. And, I deserve napkins. And I deserve napkins filth. I deserve napkins that aren't touched by the filthiest of the filth. There's a social worker in the building. He's in on all of this, and his name is Stuart. He's a dark-haired little with a beard. It's just the system. All crap, that's it, and they give advantages to the crap. Now I'm going to mop because, if you put your thumb down, obviously you don't want to have any kind of glass. And I just heard there was a motor noise, but I think it had to do with chakra theft. So I have to take some measures, and I think what I'm going to be doing, a couple minutes actually. It's a tray after you've gone to the bathroom recently. I think that's sort of a nice practice showing respect. I could actually take out my recycling. Bum here kind of know, even if they came boiling out of the room there, they're going to have a fight on their hands. And believe me, they're cowards. They're only brave if maybe you're a child or an ill person. Maybe someone by themselves, and there's at least 3 of them. Otherwise, they're very coward. Well, they're that whole thing that's a coward system anyway. But they're afraid of anyone fighting back. I'm going to take my. There's a bum talking about jewelry this, jewelry that. I think it's a black male, and he's absolutely trying to intimidate me into taking off my cross, or I bought recently with crosses on it, or my rosary. They're Satanists, and it'd be funny to have copies of the person they victimized. and hepatitis. So the fat man has hepatitis, allegedly, and tall black man, he wears a green hoodie. He has HIV AIDS. So a lot of even mentioned on the website, some of them are dealing with AIDS. Now, when I've done laundry here, by the way, laundry smelled like semen, so I would consider that a second degree. Actually, I talked to somebody who runs a day service, and I said, does her friend experience the same things with being not normal? They should have been. They let them do things, terrible things, and they have been. They just somebody just attacked. Favorite methods of attacks is biting my finger like they're gonna eat me. I have methods of solving that, and you might hear me cursing them quite soundly. Hate everyone else who thinks they're going to dominate. So these people are also in on jewelry theft, even if it's not expensive, satanic trophy to it, such as that they're going to have part of you, just like the serial killer has the person's underwear or their skin or something. This is 10507 Washington, 98133, the Brown building, and I don't want that building disguised or obscured. I want it known for what it is. And the ball have also recorded audio. When I say something that accuses them or tells that they're bums, the prostitute saying, "Turn it down." Shut up. You'll hear them all say, "We died 2 years ago. We covered up. We're going to you're dead anyway." What they're referring to is promoting the idea that I died. So every twist and turn is another lie. So if you're in another country, don't have any patience with just don't even let them talk. Just nothing is the truth. Nothing they say is the truth. They can tell you what country they're in because they're so busy calling people in this country, including themselves, English. So, ironically, the people that they've sought to destroy, including Messiah, and including killing those people in the spirit world, they will call themselves by the name of the people they destroyed. So nothing that the U.S. says should ever be believed. Ever. And there's one in the shower now. He's bragging bathroom in my. One game they played is and they've had bums, hand by the way, quarantine. What was the name? It's called They're Scared Because They Put Radiation in the Room, and they were afraid of it spreading, but also they wanted to videotape the results and play government laboratory prisoner. And that's absolutely not legal. So what you'll find is things that like, oh, I can't believe this. And you realize that they aren't government. I'm not saying you weren't involved, or some dirty security guards, that will pretend that they're police. They love it. And sometimes it's not a real security guard. It's just some guy with a wrinkly security guard jacket on. Or somebody using fatigues and camouflage. They're pretending they're high-ranking military. Right now, I'm mopping. And there's a bum shooting. I think it's the tall guy, 6'1". It's nothing special to look at. He's medium framed, and he's just a bum, and he wears kind of a fluorescent green, and he's a rapist, and they love talking about children, and they love, like the guys with AIDS in this building, they love, especially the child molesters, they love talking about children and getting women pregnant with children. And they talk about how they're going to get children. They'll say things like, you're going to get children. So sometimes when there's an alert, what, you know. You know, even though these include children, you think, well, you think of the old days when people were humans and normal. By the way, in regard to the children in the U.S., they are also human zombies. Many of them, they will talk to you like a 40-year-old woman or man. It's an evil spirit, generally, or actually. But at the same time, and they just took hand again, do I endorse child molestation? No. And I still think it's repulsive and creepy and disgusting. In fact, you've got child molesters in the building that fantasize about children. And believe me, what hurt me the most, I think, is what they did to invisible children. That were, and they've taken a lot of hand, by the way, and including a bum who thinks he's consecrated me by eating my hand in the shower room. It's the ugly black guy, child molester. He likes to play. They play, you're going to have our son. Now, let me tell you, when some of them have put semen in the water, they thought they could have women that way. They're retarded, I told you. The child molester, the black guy, he was addicted to sort of a white. It was a sports jacket. It was white, maybe with some red or something. Now they've had people follow me, lots of people. And these people, some of them have had scrubs on, like they were nurses or in doctors' training. And maybe those people wanted to make a couple $100, pay off their student loan, whatever. But that put them at the level of the dirty, retarded, human zombie that is a gang member and a drunken drug. Doesn't matter now if they are working on a beautiful degree at the college. They're now just here. Doesn't matter, if they're on their way to becoming a scientist. And you can't trust them anyway, because what they're going to be doing is stealing brain. It's a guarantee. It's absolutely. And believe me, you don't want my chakras or my hand. One of the horses chanting, you'll obey your hand. Your leg, getting rich with it, maybe running and put a curse on you. They just took back tissue. It's a game of intent. There's another bomb on Aurora. He's a human zombie. And he's in the car. Patient, he's in the wall. Back. Hand attacks, and they're playing wasted pretty much. But a lot of the games have been picking someone up. Maybe the cops would, take down that person, or maybe if someone shooting by a school, then somebody is busted. Maybe they're masturbating. Maybe that person, people with a gun. But kind of think, oh yeah, they're going to take care of these people right away. I'm telling you, be on the happen, and these people, or something big will happen. And they're, like I said, when you also dirty actions, such as a dirty nurse, a dirty doctor, case number, or pretend they're not insane, see, that didn't help America. And it's actually going to come back to them. And that's a lot to do, but they're also cursed. Hideous. But that would be the normal path, where the house of cards finally just burns down, saying, up, and you say, like, let me give you, that's my girlfriend, that's my mother, she's a prostitute, that's a woman who's wanted in 6 states. And so you've got one guy playing 10 games. Well, if the would really get attention, he would have been in a prison. But finally, it catches up with him, because he's then also said something to the effect of, that's a Nazi. That's what a lot of actually, in which particular, but a couple ethnicities that might claim, but I've heard whites too. So there you go. Oh, that wasn't why she won't let you her. I won't let them blackmail me. So I'm Nazi, huh? Also, with me, I'm not even going to say what ethnicity I am. On my skin, and it was bleached where in the meth lab, but it's kind of a white-looking person. But you just never know, do you? You just don't know, and it's really nobody's business. And I actually hold quite a trump card, because one of the, shall we say, groups that I complain about maybe receiving better care than others, or better this, that, well, there's, allegedly some of that ethnicity in my family tree. It's not black, but, something different. But it's nobody's business, really, is it? Group that I know, racism, of the probably most protected groups. That's another story, though. Now, with the shock, I'm going to talk about that thing. And a lot of people are trying to make, UFOs, and they think they're going to be, like I said, like there's a hostile take, or maybe 300 of us. Maybe, maybe me, and then the rest are dead, or they're slaves. Maybe even they're food for bums, but then they've got my shock and my etheric body, and they're pretending to be me, and they pretend everything is wonderful because they have everyone's identities. That's one of the common chants by bums, playing with psi. Every identity. And there's a car bum on Aurora also. 9/11. One of the common games is to play, you gave me this, you gave me that. And it's either a bum I don't know, or someone who is such a bum, you wouldn't give them the time of day. There was a stomach go up at 9/11, and I can assure you, any of these bums, anything. Except they threaten me, maybe a foot in the ass. That's about it. But you have to be aware of what's legal to do. Now, just because I think people are human zombies, I'm going around and killing them or, kidnapping them. That was another thing the gangs have pretended I was doing. It's like, she's kidnapping people. That's what they were doing. Would you like to absolutely fooling around with invisible people? Which I'm not saying they're. Oh, and they're. By the way, the bums are using the stomach. They're exploding it. And believe me, you don't want my belly out there. From my back. Why? Because you don't know what they're going to do, whether it's creating people or whatever. Now, I forgot the chat that was on. Anyway. I don't live invisible. Some people have referred to me as an alien. Some have called me an angel. I don't actually live in the invisible. Some people have, even when they've targeted me, they say, well, why are you still here? It's like, where was I supposed to go? They've taken my chakras. I still have to eat. I'm an ill person because I never get enough healing, with the chakras out there to murder you and your family and to brainwash. They're always stolen from me. They're not. So I'm saying you get those chakras out. You want them in me. The world could have actually been a better place if I hadn't been poisoned, and I could have been there with Satan and stop all the anguish and the horror, and I would have. In the name of Jesus Christ, there's a little spirit that came to me. I wouldn't have murdered you, my dear. You. And if nothing else, I ask to burn out with them. Star, if that's, God. To burn out a great star than be used in slavery by bombs. Light. And yes, I would have protected you. Wouldn't have let you take the fall of Satan. Like I said, sort of distracted, being poisoned, and at one point I starved myself. I don't even know how I survived. Seems like I could go for weeks without eating. It was. But I didn't die. I just kept living. Drank the water, I didn't even have that much water. I couldn't even go to the bathroom, really. No help. I tried to commit suicide. I have no interest in committing suicide, though. Bomb 15, large plane. I should tell if they're large. What I'm doing is like you're tracking human zombies, and the date is always important. Even if I'm dead, the notebooks are, found one day. The notebooks, some of them I did not date, but maybe I'll be alive and have my magic back, and I can figure out even the dates. A lot of my books are sitting in my storage room, and they're glassy because they glassed my possession. I've been chased around. I went to shelters. People tried to rob me. People tried to put me out in front of a dumpster. And you might say, well, or somewhere. Well, that takes money. There's camping stuff involved. There are a couple crazies I could have camped with, but they're totally nuts. And he was robbed, and he ended up in trouble because he's stabbed somebody that he was camping with. He's really, I wouldn't be friends with him anyway. He makes too many jokes about alcoholism and eating people, and it would for him. So, no. I think he was ruined after the fall with Satan. They're breaking hands in the and it actually, what is it amounting to? People have used my power balls to make themselves beautiful or to make themselves smarter with my brain. But what's happening, and what I see, is a lot of these addicts or drunks, they're not looking just your Joe average, Josephine average. They're not looking better with the theft of my chakras. They, in fact, are dying. Many people die in here at 10507 Aurora Avenue, North Seattle, Washington, 98133. And some have 2 years, maybe a year, and they're still going to die. Eating my chakras, it's not going to make the world a better place. It just curses the Americans even more. And I was absolutely cut off, and I couldn't find anybody. And he was on me the last 15 years. They all play games human zombies play. Talking about Ira. And they just took a camp. So it seems every time I move, they're taking a lot. So slow, these people taking it down is attack. If you're using psi, attack the people attacking in. And some of them, some human beings, it's hard for me to say because so many are so bad here in Washington. Animals talk with demonic knowledge, and it's not just an animal, because I confess I try to save nice people, hoping, oh, it's a spirit. I hope she gets saved, praying for nice spirits. And the animals, like the dogs, they've all been remade into zombies. The cats, especially the service animals, is a zombie. And like one of the dogs today, a fluffy little dog, 45, and talking about philosophy. And it was talking about philosophy, possibly in context where you know, like let's say you curse the human in one of their philosophy. Possibly that's what the dog was talking about. And the dogs will talk back. It's not, and so will the cats. It's not, and so will the other animals. And it's not just animal talk. It's they made these animals actually have the knowledge, like that they should never have had. And even frogs in the wild were ruined. And I've absolutely seen visions of the cells, and they've ruined the cells, the DNA structure. It's chanting, it's talking, but not just that, it's worse. It's satanic. And also, one of the biggest enjoyments that the Satanic Americans thought they could promote was to have everything based on a suffering. Like if you throw meat in a skillet, oh, these Americans get hurts, the cow. It's hurting me. And why? Because with them, they love blood drinking. And they're calling me video a movie. Lots of talk of movies. And that was a moron, if you hear him. Talk of movies regarding me on illegal cam. And I've never given them permission. And you know what the gang members will do too is and they'll do it with Psy. So let's say they take a permission that maybe you're saying yes because you're talking to your friend. Yeah, like oh, that person said yes. Relate them. We get to prostitute. And see, that's what moms have tried. City, I told them, and I had to laugh too because if you're sick, you're not going to be worth much. And some of this has happened. Most did somebody let them. Somebody coached them in a vertical. Followed me around, trying to force me into signing papers of consent. I would imagine because they've talked our deeds. And so I've told people, like the city of Seattle, annoying messages around a certain, and it, like, oh, maybe it's Wednesday and I wanted to get out and volunteer, but also I might eat salad from their food bank where I volunteer because, you know, I'm broke this month or something because I had to pay a bill. Or maybe Thursday, I wanted to volunteer and get out earlier, but the threat level is high. It's food bank day that day too, and there's a party or something, and you know, or maybe you know, because I go shopping on Fridays and I'd shop for the weekend and I'd stick myself in here, shut the door, the dresser against the door. They wanted to rob me for immediate gratification purposes, like, oh, they'd come in and rape and kill me, and they'd have all weekend to eat whatever it is I bought. Like maybe I bought New York steaks on sale, and tater tots, excuse me, and hiccuping, and some cabbage, and then, you know, yogurts or something. Then they think that they're going to have all that food, and then I'm in here dead or unconscious from while they're eating the food. It's been the goal, and the managers would have let them. So there's usually a game of immediate gratification. They've also not wanted me to stay here, drink it, ha ha ha. She hates water, it burns her. But we'll do the video. We're going to pretend we're researchers. We're getting money from someone allegedly or selling it. It's like a snuff video that we're making. Was paying them, or they would do a pay-per-view. Now they Comcast, where the cameras existed. So in that case, you can curse Viacom and Comcast for having that. They think it's Comcast, and they can receive curse along with the people doing it, along with anybody enjoying the broadcasts. And I'm not talking about me talking to you where you can't see me. I'm talking about watching me to take a bath in radiation or meth lab chemistry. Curse them. That kind of shit worth a breath. Excuse me. Extra. And it's a guaranteed devil worshiper. Now, there's a name that you need to look out for. It's the first marks of a Satan person of Satanism. And that's somebody playing Lisa. Lisa's evil right now. And that's Ninth Floor. And Buter. And they're playing Ireland You Huge. So they like to call different names. They all like to shield themselves. Names that it shows you were absolutely programmed by bum. That was because I wouldn't sleep with him, so he was Satan, and there you go. Or Satan came to him, and Satan came to the drunks and druggies and other parts of the U.S., and he found friends. And let me put it this way. If someone has my hand here, you want me to get my magic back. You want me to get them. The bums talk advertising, and they actually put me allegedly on Craigslist. A woman was kidnapped and they actually advertised her. They've done the same thing to me, and you might say, oh, you're psychotic. No, because then I've actually gone places and people are saying, oh, it's a prostitute. They've also had freaks follow me around on the number 45 route and the E-line first 45, and another bus that I've taken, pretending I was a prostitute. And I was a prostitute, talking about how that thing, they love to say that because I'm with them. And he said that thing needs to be butchered. It was on the 45, yeah. It was a guy, he was not white, he was not black. He looked like boxer features, like he had boxer features. He had a distinctive, it was sort of combed, so it was sort of old-fashioned, where it's above the forehead, sort of in a frock. And there was a white male with him, or just sitting down, and well, inside, if you're looking out of the 45 that white male looked very uncomfortable, distance himself. And that, even among human zombies, dangerous type of person, like, well, you know, because there's this aspect of, here's the invisible, you've got people playing with technology like you wouldn't believe, but they're here, they're still wearing clothing, they're still shopping at stores, still allegedly working, so you've still got semblance of society. So a lot of the human zombies were operating silence. And if you're in another country, what you want to damn these people with to be as unliving as I have been. Now, the dirty bum in the wall, he's the fat guy at 10507 Aurora Avenue North, Seattle, Washington, 8133. It just took hand. He's fat, white, with a black hoodie, bald, he looks like a maggot, a grub, about 5'9". Oh, I forgot to mention, on a daily basis, have told me things like call the police or the city to know it's the devil. They wouldn't get extortion money. It wasn't their money. I woke up 13 years ago and their brother was pretending I owed the money. And so, like, let's say you moved out and you're, you know, even if you owe money on your Comcast cable bill or whatever or something like that, does that mean people would be allowed to kill the ancestors in the spirit world? Or the people on the street, you know, would be able to say, you owe me money for a phone bill. All over Washington, this town, pretending I owed them. So we're going to show everybody who had any part of me and what they did with it. And I want our cosmic friends who are still out there, the dirty judge and the dirty policeman who get into a car and become a prostitute. Well, that made a place that would have had me live there. Well, they didn't want me after that. I'm the one who had to go before a prosecutor. America, that is absolutely. That's just one story. And it's even worse. I've got two before I go to bed. And this place is civil, and I really need to listen to prayer for a while at least. I might check back up, and one never knows when the broadcast might go on during the